Hello, friends. It's mid-December 2021, and in Sacramento and on Ananda Lane in Sacramento, the leaves have almost all fallen. We've been watching a wonderful fall season, autumn season with incredible colors in the leaves and sky and trees in general. But now it's getting on to winter, and next week it will be officially winter. But it's interesting. We were walking by the river recently, the American River, as we often do, almost daily, and in the view and in the surroundings that we were walking through, again, the trees have basically all lost their leaves. And outwardly, the last time we were there, it was kind of a blustery day, and not sort of the most pleasant in a way to be walking through with gusty winds and so forth. But it was just interesting to observe how the rhythms of nature apply and how they apply to our own lives as well. So here in the Northern Hemisphere, winter is coming on. Now, of course, if you live in a warmer climate, then it's milder weather. In fact, it could be very, very pleasant weather. But in farther north areas, it tends to be cooler. And nature itself in those environments is kind of drawing its energy inward. And we see this with the trees. We see it with the animals. Some animals go into hibernation. Other animals just get kind of less outwardly active, or they spend their whole time eating. And many of the animals, like the squirrels in the yard here, have been burying acorns and nuts and whatever else they do furiously all summer long in preparation for the winter. But it's fascinating to sort of extrapolate that to our own lives. And I'll just give an example that from history that I'm aware of, but it also seems in a way to apply to us. In the 1800s, in 1815 and 1816, there was a year, the year 1815 became known as the year without a summer. And there was a volcano that went off in Indonesia that went off for a while and put an enormous amount of ash into the stratosphere, and it went all around the world and basically blocked a lot of the light of the sun in such a way that global temperatures diminished by an enormous amount, by more than a degree Fahrenheit, which may not sound like a lot, but on a global level, that's pretty significant. And temperatures in Europe and in North America just really never got warm, and it led to famine and a lot of difficulty. Now, that's a long time ago, 1815, but more than 200 years ago. But there's an interesting parallel, and this is what I wanted to touch on, that if you think about it, since the start of 2020, so now almost 2 years, basically, right about now, 2 years ago, the pandemic, the coronavirus pandemic, was beginning, but we didn't know it at the time. First cases were happening, the spread of it was beginning, but generally speaking, it was not known throughout the world. And so if you think about the year 2020, many of us were in lockdown for significant portions of that year, and outward life was disrupted. I mean, for that, in the airline industry, the year 2020 would have probably been considered the year without a summer, because people just stopped flying. I mean, almost everybody stopped flying. And, travel in general became, you did it on your own, you did it on the highway. National parks got visited a lot. People, kept their vacations closer to where they could be, or they just did staycations at home. But if you think about the effect that something like that would have, or did have in that case, on our lives, it forces our energy to go inward. And then what do we do with it? Do we do something productive with it? Or do we binge watch whatever happens to be coming up next on the TV or on the, whatever streaming service we use? We have the choice of what we do with our energy. And we're not out of this pandemic yet. Now we have a new variant. We've been through the first one, then Delta is still happening, and now we have yet a new one called Omicron. And we can get ourselves very virus conscious, and I'm not advocating that, but I am advocating awareness, because what the universe is telling us right now is that we have to do something. We have to respond, not react, but respond. And how we respond depends on what we choose to do with our own energy. And I will humbly suggest creativity, inward sadhana, and spiritual practice in the form of meditation or whatever is valid and useful and relevant in your life, but that we make use of it rather than feeling put upon by it. Now, if we were alive in 1815 and the year without a summer came and our crops failed or never grew at all, and we were suffering starvation, or we were sort of up against the limits of our own resources, that would not be much fun. I mean, I grant you. And in a sense, 2020 and 2021 are a little bit like that. Last year was kind of a year without a summer. 2021 had a summer because things were starting to open up. But now it's, a little dicey again. And we all have to respond to what the universe delivers us. Animals would have had to respond to the volcano in 1815. All of us have to respond to what is given to us. And if we can do it positively, then there can be tremendous growth and tremendous blessing that will play it forward in our lives for as long as we live. So let's take advantage of the circumstances that we live in, not feeling put upon by them, not feeling like it's an imposition upon us, but rather just taking it as information that we can use and respond to in the best way possible for each one of us. Namaste.